Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Cackling Pumpkin. So maybe wondering, why am I so dang bright now? Because in a lot of my other webcam videos, I wasn't so damn bright. And there might be a little bit of a glaring light here. It's because I got a new fancy schmancy ring light. I have a funny story to go with this, too. I went to Five Below to get a ring light at first. And the door was unlocked, and then I noticed the store was completely empty. I was so confused, and I just heard this, like, ringing. And I was like, what's going on here? So I went to the back where they usually have the ring lights and all that kind of stuff, and I was looking at it. Guy comes out from the back and looks at me and says, "Your lights were closed, right?" "No. The door's unlocked, isn't it?" "Yeah." So I accidentally broke into a place. So then I had to go to Staples and got this one for like $10. And oh, you're gonna love the crazy shit this thing can do. It's not just a light. Look what else it could do. There's colors, there's red, it's this tiny remote, you press like the M plus and M minus, it changes, so right now it's red, orange, it may not look it to the video, yellow, but it looks kind of greenish to me, light green, dark green, light blue, darker blue, darkest blue, purple, pink, sort of a whitish color, fucking trippy-ass rainbow shit. Another form of the rainbow shit. Gummy worms. It's like orange and green. Super duper blue. Fucking Windows Movie Maker hue shift effect. Red, yellow, and white, I guess. Fucking look away, epilepsy! Changing colors real quick. Bisexual. And that's all. Also, the regular light also has other functions. I could change it to like a yellowish, an orange, a white. So yeah, this thing is going to come in real handy. Making me look real party. You know? I'm trying to figure out how to set it up. I do see like a little bit of it coming from this side of the screen. I'm messing around with it so much and telling so many different stories besides what's actually going on here. I might as well just make this its own video. Anyway, so now it gives me the opportunity to put colorful lights and have proper lighting and allow my webcam to actually be able to be good. But anyway, welcome back to the Nightmare Journal. I'm going to be doing 5 more episodes for now, and after that, I'm going to have episodes come occasionally whenever I do have a new nightmare coming around. Because here's the thing about dreams and nightmares, they come whenever they want. So, and now I feel as if that would make things kind of fun too. It could be more like a traditional dream journal where I could record one of these when I actually do have a full-on nightmare that exact night, instead of going over ones that I remember from my past. Now, what may be disappointing about this one is that I'm not going to have a piece of art to go with it because there isn't really much to visualize. There's no creature, there is not really much to go over. And I think it's really because this is my very first nightmare that I can remember. The oldest one that I can remember from a very, very long time ago. I was at least a few months old, a year or two, can't exactly remember. Now, I don't know. I know, like, science, like, when you're a little baby, you're just like... And then you all of a sudden become conscious like that, you're like...
Oh my god, I exist! I exist within this brain!
So it's really hard to say. When I was first born... My mom and my sister were living in this tiny, like, greenhouse in a small town in Maryland called Essex. And I have a few memories of this greenhouse, so it makes me wonder how long we lived there. I have to ask my mom how long we did live there. I think maybe a couple years, I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, the tiny house we lived in was like a trailer. So a lot of trailers, they have like these kind of tiny hallways that go from the side for like bedrooms, bathrooms, leading to one room in the back, and that's where my room kind of is in this house. Yes, I live in a trailer. Some things never change, I guess. It's not the same trailer. That'd be kind of crazy if it was. That's why I'm not afraid to tell the location. This is a point in time when I was obsessed with 2 things. Blue's Clues and Barney the Dinosaur. I used to have a bunch of Blue's Clues related shit all over the house. In fact, a couple of years ago, not too long, I think 1 or 2 years ago, my grandmother actually found a fucking stockpile of God knows how many VHS tapes from our childhood. And she gave them all to me. They're all here. Over like 200 VHS tapes she just stumbled upon, and she decided, Like, she came to me one day and said, Zach, you can have a lot of these. And I felt bad at first because I was like, I don't know if I should take it. That feels more like I'm taking rather than you giving, because that's a lot of tapes. And then she persisted and said, well, what am I going to do with them? I'm like, okay. I had to get a whole new shelving system for them. But the reason I bring that up, and the fact that I was obsessed with Blue's Clues, I believe it's over my ass. One of these is a Blue's Clues VHS tape from when I was around that age. This is quite possibly one of the oldest things I own. Let's see, which one is it? This is Blue's Big Pajama Party. I don't remember anything about this. Get this to the webcam. Why am I bringing it to the mic? So yeah, I still own something from that time. We just didn't know for years. It was just sitting in my grandma's house, and she decided to do some spring cleaning and just fucking find it. Now, some of you may be sitting there saying, you're a grown-ass man and you own a Blue's Clues tape. It's a part of my childhood. Look, it's a part of my childhood. It's one of the few things I still have left from my childhood. And it's also weird because we didn't know we had all these VHS tapes just sitting around for years, by the way. These have just been sitting around for like over 20 years at this point. Another thing I was obsessed with when I was a little kid was I would just tear machines apart but put them back together. My mom said it was like weird. She saw like this little kid just tear apart a VHS player, like actually take it apart, screwdriver and everything, and put it back together, and she says it somehow worked better than after I tampered with it than before. Then I was also an idiot kid and decided the fucking VCR was hungry, and I tried to feed it a peanut butter jelly sandwich and broke it. Still getting sidetracked. Stop. What I'm trying to say is I was a simple little kid. This was giving you the idea of how old I was when I had this nightmare. Now, I'm not exactly sure why I had this nightmare, because this nightmare would imply that I was claustrophobic. And I think, when it comes down to it, I don't suffer the fear of claustrophobia in the sense that, like, I can't handle tight spaces. Like, this is a small room, and it's a very cramped room. There's a lot going on here. If I was, I wouldn't even be able to, like, work with this room. This thing is generating heat. It's heating up my face. It itself isn't heating up, and I'm getting cancer right now. But in the same time, I think I'm a healthy amount of claustrophobic. If you put me in a tight space that, like, was so tight I wasn't able to really move my arms or move my body very well, and there was no easy way in and out, yeah, I'd reasonably freak out like anyone else would. But if it was like, okay, I can easily get in and out of this tight space, or I could at least move my arms or sit down, yeah, it's fine. I can handle that. Sometimes it's a little cozy. It's like a weighted blanket, except probably horrifying. So I'm not exactly sure where this dream came up. Maybe there was an episode of Blue's Clues that was kind of like this. Or, I don't know, Barney the fucking dinosaur, couldn't tell you. But the dream goes as so. I don't remember this one in great detail, but I remember waking up in my bed. Or my crib, I can't remember exactly which it was. But I just remember the walls were closing in on me. Everything was just shrinking, except for me. So I got out of my bed or crib, whatever it was, and went into the hall. The hallway was morphing and waving and was starting to close in on itself. I tried to run through and it started to get a little tight, and I was a little kid at this point, so this was something that was oddly terrifying to me. And I was a little kid, so it must have gotten really fucking tight to be able to make me move on my side to try and get out. But unfortunately, I can't exactly remember too much of the dream itself. I just remember the house was shrinking, and I needed to find a way out. I was looking for my mom, I was looking for my sister, no one was in the house, and yet the house was just shrinking upon itself. Everything else was shrinking except for me. I was afraid I was going to get crushed by everything. But unfortunately, I can't exactly remember too much about the dream itself, simply because I was so young. For all I know, that's all the dream could have been. Just, that happened and then I woke up. So, you're probably wondering, why is it that you wanted to do an episode about this if the dream itself was like a 1-minute story or a 1-minute explanation? Just because it's the oldest dream I can remember. That's the whole reason. I know some people may be disappointed by this episode, but really that's it. The place would start shrinking upon itself, I was starting to get claustrophobic, tried to go through a tiny-ass wibbly-wobbly hallway, and that's it. Now I think about it, this was kind of a waste of time, but I still think it's worth sharing just because it is the oldest dream I can remember. I think it's worth sharing just because it is the oldest, maybe even the first nightmare I really had. So, it may seem like a big waste of time, but yeah, it was. It's just 90% of YouTube in general. So yeah, I guess hope you enjoyed the video. Toodaloo, sweet cheeks.